Hey everybody, how you doing? Yeah, my voice sounds funny. I went to the ENT, I got a nodule on my throat. That's from the aggravation and some other stuff. But that's been going on since Thanksgiving. So it's feeling a little better, but I'm probably going to have to, because speech therapists, it costs like $50 a pop with my copay. And there's only so much of that I'm going to do. So most likely I'll have to have them removed and just avoid some stuff. So, which I've been doing. I've been a good girl with that. And anyhow, I got some news. Not the best news, but also not the most horrible news that I could have. So, here's the deal. Okay? I had a friend that I used to work with a while ago, and he kind of back then screwed me over with the work because we had dated and we were supposed to be, I guess, partners in something, one of his enterprises. And as soon as we broke up, because he was not, forget, I didn't want to go into what his personality. He was an angry, frustrated type of person that was constantly complaining about finances when I had absolutely nothing. So I was like, okay, that's really nice. And I was getting tired of hearing it, and I think it was like one too many times. It was like just listening to all of this that I said, enough. But with the writing, we weren't really getting anywhere anyway. With the screenplays and everything, and I worked then too, and I always had great ideas. I mean, I'm saying that because that's what was told to me. I never thought about writing. I had more than one person tell me, in different backgrounds. Some writers and screen and film directors, professors, school teachers, just all different walks of life, and that talent. And I knew I had sort of that talent when I was younger, but didn't pursue it. I did art. Love to draw storyboard type stuff, and I didn't bother to pursue it. But I didn't think about it back then. Back in the 80s, I didn't think animated films were going to come out and things like that. I wanted to do cartooning, but I just didn't think it was a possibility. Or a lot of people just kind of give up on their dreams. So anyway, to get to the point of all of this is that this particular person, after doing what he did and screwing me over that way, he weaned his way back into my life, as much as I was not happy about it, and he knew it, because he would always say, oh, I know I did you wrong, everybody does me wrong, and everybody wants to make up for it, but they never do. That's this thing. They never really make up for it, So, what I went through with my son's school, previous school. Now that he's back in Longley, things are going great. I had a meeting with teachers today, and I'm very happy with the situation. They are not worried at all. They are very confident. They told me not to worry. They have it handled. It's really, they put my mind at such ease that there is no news that could be better, than that. There's nothing that could be better than that. That was my doing. I mean, if I didn't push as hard as I did, I wouldn't have gotten him where he needed to be, and he's my priority. If I was by myself, like my so-called partner was, my writing partner was, where he is a type of person. He's by himself. He's got a grown daughter. She's out of the house. He's only got to take care of himself. He's worked most of his life. So he really didn't have nothing to worry about. Where I've been sick most of my life and had to pay out bills, while I'm hearing him complain now about them, which is ticking me off when I get an email from him about things like that. So how did this get started? Well, he wormed his way back into talking to me and wanted to make up for what he did wrong the last time, And he didn't do a very good job, because he screwed me again. He did exactly what he did before. And he kept pushing with the booklet zero. That you, if you hear any background noise, this is the television. My father can't hear. he just kept pushing in that where that was concerned, and it was actually getting annoying. But I got to the point where I was like, I don't care what you did, just if you want to show it to this person that you think's going to do something for you. And meanwhile, he's teaching, he's got jobs. It's not like he's not working. I was getting ready to get resumes set up. I was going to go back to a school, but they didn't have a school for what I wanted, and I wasn't going to retake stuff, so I said, forget that. So I was trying to get a resume together to get, to send out to different denominations in the film marketing, in the writing industry, and just general, and anything else I could possibly send out anywhere. It wasn't really a big deal. Getting the resumes were. And then I had this thing with my son, so that stopped. I was writing six shorts, three he wrote, three I wrote. He agreed to do whatever I wanted with them. So I took them and was starting to write, being that they were doing a lot of things based on books, and to see if I can get them out there. And but as aggressive as I am, I'm more to be trusted than anybody, because if I want to get something done, I'll get it done. He got involved with this woman who claimed to be a really good agent. Okay, I don't trust anybody, but at this point, I laid my trust in him, which was foolish thing for me to do, was to trust him again. I should have learned from my first mistake, like I did with my friends. They pulled that with me twice, where they were friends with me and they lured me back in, and then friends again. So, I just let it be. I said, all right, well, she's got this book, at this point, and she's making a whole bunch of promises since September, if not sooner, to him. And then he goes away to China. He doesn't hear anything from her. Comes back in November. I don't hear anything from her. She doesn't call me or talk to me about anything. Eventually, I did have to make the first move of contacting her, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have heard anything. I had to ask him what was up with it, with the book. But she wanted to meet me first. I don't know what publisher or what agent or manager, whatever she wants to call herself, wants to meet you first. I mean, right? It's weird. It was very strange. Then I liked her at first. I have to be honest. She plays a pretty good act. So I figured, okay, let's see what happens here, and I was focused more on my son. I didn't get a chance to meet her until after November, and still things weren't done with my son and getting him out of that rotten school that he was in, and getting him back to a good school. So, but things were going in my direction, and help or no help, alone or not, there's no one war I haven't won, unless I decide to let it go. So I said, okay, I met her. It was odd because in her house, there was like a clunk of dog hair. It was the first thing I noticed. I have a dog myself, and the last thing I would do is not clean my house when I have somebody that is supposed to be an agent and boss or whatever, somebody I'm working with that I don't know, come to my house. The first thing, you want to make sure the house looks nice. You don't want to have a wreck in your house. This big, looked like a tumbleweed of dog hair just went blowing by, and right there, that was an indication to me of a part of her personality. Now, personality is worth 1,000 documents, because they showed me supposedly valid documentation of my son's work, and this valid documentations of all his stuff, and all this nonsense. And even at today's meeting, they needed to get all of that, and it was hard to do that. So, and they were having trouble with the school with getting that. But it was still stuff they couldn't be trusted, even though it was done by the school, was still written by the teachers, and still said, so they could say whatever they want and put a stamp on it and make it valid. I mean, anybody could pretend to be anybody. There's a lot of scam artists out there. Am I saying she's a scammer? I don't know. All I know is what I was told. So what she did is she made a deal with my book, which she met me. At first, that was the first thing I noticed. I wanted to get that out. And then her husband comes walking in, doesn't say hello or anything to me. My friend had to go and say hello first. And then introduced me, and he didn't even come over to shake my hand. Just walked on by, walked into the kitchen, and I mean, the behavior was odd. Most of the conversation was revolved around my son, and then she was like, "Oh, I have connections to this, I have connections to that." She had connections to anybody. All she did was mention a bunch of charter schools that her kids went to that were far away from me. I did all the work. If it wasn't for me, none of that would have happened. And everybody likes to take credit for it. Well, I should just help you with this, or I just should have helped you with that. Help what? Whether you were there or not, I would have done it anyway. Either way. That's the decaf, by the way. Doctor said decaf. So that was another odd thing. And she had some other guy who not even family, just walk out of the room in his shorts and, just wave hi and just walk on by. It just was like the oddest thing. And he said that she had strange people in her house. Well, doesn't that ring a bell? I mean, she has these strange people coming to live with her. She had an old person living with her. I was like, because she could be stealing the Social Security for her, But all of this didn't roll out until later on. Okay, so I'm like, this is very odd situation. But I talked to her. Most of it was about my son. She was trying to work me on my son's, my sympathies, and I felt pretty confident. She said she wanted me to write about a thing for Pixar, because I told her what my ideas were. She wanted to have something for Zero published, and she wanted to have a short for that. She was dictating to me everything she wanted from me. All of a sudden, she wants all these things from me. And that was only one meeting. The second meeting, after that, no calls, barely any texts. Once in a while, she texts something, doing this and doing. I don't know what the hell these. I have the texts on the phone. They were just ridiculous. Some of these texts, and it was like, okay, but nothing was happening. Nothing was happening with anything. None of the work she didn't talk about. She didn't talk about anything. Then she said, "I want you to get that stuff done." With my episodes at a sitcom. I had to tear up my break apart my movie that it was supposed to be and turn it into a ridiculous sitcom. So I was like, okay, well, we'll do that, and worked really hard. Completely lost my voice because I was dictating. Because I'm not the best typist. Well, he typed, being that he does that for a living, so, he was typing quicker. Actually, I was talking quicker than he can type. But all this ends up boiling down to is nothing happened. She came to my house. I invited her and her family to my house, with something that my friend never even did. He didn't even bother inviting her. I did it. I invited her I had to bake 3 lasagnas, which cost a lot of money. I put out wines and cheeses and all this stuff just to have her text me last minute that everybody's sick in the house. Now, this is not the first time she's done this. Everybody's been sick in that house all the time. And there was an incident, which I find odd, that she actually pushed my friend out of the house because he was an hour early. Oh, no, you can't come in. Everybody's sick. But what? Come back in an hour and they're not going to be sick? That still is not suspicious? I mean, there was a lot of suspicious behaviors. And no matter how much evidence somebody puts down, it's what they say and do that matters. And I already realized that from dealing with a whole bunch of women in a room dictating about my son's future. I've been there, done that. And he expects me to now trust this one with documents. I've already been with documents. So I'm going to trust this one with documents? That's crazy. That's crazy. You expect me just automatically, because she sends me an email, to believe that after what I've been through? With the back and forth, and with the people that were going back and forth, and the head, the school board and all that, you expect me to just believe somebody with documents? I didn't even see the documents. So what happened was, I told her, I said, okay. She says, at the time we had the lasagna, she came alone, okay, and she says she eats with a fork, lasagna. She eats with a fork and knife in lasagna. How do you eat lasagna with a fork and knife? And then she did something very low class. First she asked if you like Chianti. Chianti's like the cheapest one you could find. You'd think she would have been talking about La Crema, and meanwhile she's talking about Chianti. She's bragging about, the business. And then she's quiet about what she wouldn't say much of it. She just regaled, or whatever you want to call it, all the information to my friend without me there, but the issue is about me just recently. So anyhow, we go through this this long. Nope, let's run out. Okay, went through this long thing about. I get my thoughts straight. She talks about, we talk about, finally after she finishes eating, and she sticks a fork after she had it in her mouth back. She goes, oh, I just want the meat, and she's digging into with her fork into the lasagna and picking at it. I mean, where did she grow up? In a barn? You know. Now my friend, oh yeah, what do you think of her? You know, yeah. And my mother's like, something's fishy about it. Oh yeah, I think so too. Everything is, yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think so. What do you think about it? Yeah. If I would have said I liked her, oh yeah, I think she's great. If I said I didn't like her, he would have said, yeah, I think I don't think I could trust her. But with him, it was all about the money. It was never about. It was always a time you come. I love you and your family. I love that kid. I love your son. You know, I think the world of you. I think the world of you. Now, when you think the world of somebody, you don't stick a knife up their spine and in their stomach while their back's turned. Okay? And I'm going to tell you how that happened. She wanted this book written, and she comes to me on the night of the lasagna. She wants it in pop-up. Then she tells him later on in the car that they wanted it in pop-up. She never told me I had a choice. She just said, well, what do you think about pop-ups? It's like, well, I'm crazy about them. I said, but, if that's what they want, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know what to tell her at the time. I mean, this was in a meeting, came later. I mean, and then we went over some of the sitcom stuff, and she's editing. And I'm wondering where she's getting her experience from myself, because she never showed me anything. She didn't show me anything that she was an agent. She says I'm not an agent, I'm a manager. She never showed me any credentials. She never showed him any credentials. So he's dragging me along for a ride on a roller coaster he knows nothing about, So in this case, he's doing what he did before, getting my hopes up. Like nobody's done that before. So I'm trusting him to do the right thing. And by trusting him, I have to trust that she's going to do the right thing. And I don't trust anybody, but now I'm doing it. I'm letting the guard down that I always keep up, and I'm trusting him. So she says that she has a surprise for me on Wednesday. Why is she waiting for Wednesday? I don't know why she didn't just talk to me then and there. She was standing there. And he says he doesn't know nothing about it, yet she asks him, should I tell him now? So what am I supposed to believe on that one? Should I tell her now? Should I tell her now? And, I don't know. Tell her what you... But he had no idea. I don't get that. This the whole situation didn't make any sense. So she tells me that she later on, I'll tell you Wednesday. Wednesday comes and goes. No emails, nothing. So by Thursday, I sent her a funny email, still sarcastic, saying, yay, surprise, thank you. So then she went on about, I said, she sent me 2 emails. She always does. I sent you this. No, she does the same thing with him, and he seems to still have trust in her. And it's about the money. Okay? It's all about the money. Keep this in your mind. Now, a lot of you might say, I don't give a shit. I would take the money too. I don't care about anybody. True. That's why I don't like to get involved with anybody. Because I don't backstab anybody. I don't rat on people. I don't backstab on people. If you're going to treat my friend like shit, and you're legitimate here, but you're not here, and they're here, I'm not going to say, well, too bad, so sad, shoo, Now, after a while, I mean, she's doing some really, she's not contacting him, He finally gets a meeting with her, she tells him she has no time for him, no time for, what does that tell you? I had an argument with her on the computer. She's like, I'm sick and I run 3 businesses and this. I'm like, she used every excuse in the book not to call. She don't call nobody. She don't call, she only texts. So what does that tell you? She doesn't keep contact with you whatsoever. That is not a way to do business. I don't know anybody who does business like that when they want to keep a client. Especially somebody you're telling them to write all this stuff. I'm racking my brains writing all this stuff, and then she's possibly not for real. Okay, so she sends me, she don't talk to me, she don't send me, she tells me she made a deal with Penguin Books, okay, that she's, you know, she knows them very well, they know her very well, made a deal with Penguin Books, and she gives them, I didn't care, it was in the UK, I'm like, why is it not here, and why is it not Scholastic? You know, she got all these connections, all these big connections, Cinemax, HBO. You mean tell me she can't get a lousy book published in September? So I'm over there wondering to myself, like, all right, she's, after the argument, then all of a sudden she's got a Penguin book deal. Within one day, she let me go one day, and then the next day after that, then she writes, all right, I got this deal with Penguin Books. And she tells me what it is. And she don't ask me. She don't call me. She don't consult with me. Do you like these terms? This is what I was planning on offering them. Since she says nobody ever gets a sign-in bonus. Since when does nobody ever get an advance on a book that a company would like? I don't get it. They want a sequel to the book. You can't do a sequel to Zero. I mean, you could probably try to do another numbers book, but you can't do a sequel to Zero. It's impossible. And it's a great children's book, and everybody loves it. You know, I mean, I actually talked to teachers today, and they're like, you got to get this. You got to show me this book. You know, so I'm trying to figure this out. I'm over there thinking, all right, she's telling me this pisses me off because why don't she call and talk to me about it? Oh, I don't have time. What is that? You don't have time to talk. I'm nobody. I'm a peon. So I didn't answer anything, you know, and I talked to my friend, and he's all calm. Of course he's calm. He's not worried about me. I think the world of you. Remember that. I think the world of you. I love you and your parents and your kid, and I love you. Threw those words around so. You love something so much. You care about somebody so much that he used those words like a cheap shit. Like it was cheap that he used them. Because you don't screw over somebody you care about, no matter what. You fix it. You don't screw it. And what he did is he went and he said, well, it's too bad, that that this thing with this book company, and he knew a lot of stuff before he even told me. He should have told me right away because I'm steaming up, and he knows I have problems with my neck and head, and he's making me steam. He's making me wait and steam up. I'm not getting any answers from him, any answers from her. So he goes, oh well, you take it, you don't take it, you do what you got to do. That's the advice you give somebody you care about. You do what you got to do. You don't tell people that. When you care about somebody, you give them advice. You talk to them. You say, you know what, wait it out. Let's check into this. You try to do something. And he well knows how I am because he knows that's how I work. Same thing like anything else. Same thing like with my son. You don't just say, well, we'll wait it out. We'll see what happens. We both agreed. You check into it. You see there's a problem. You go for it. They're like, well, because it had to do with me. It didn't affect him. He didn't get angry until he did some of his own digging because he wasn't hearing from her. And he checked up on her to see if she was the agent of this place, this thing that she was supposed to be an agent of, and found out that the woman didn't know her. Then you see him cursing and being angry. I'm going to dump it. I don't care. I've had it with her. And then it was the last one. That's it. I'm done with her. Then I was supporting him. I was very supportive, and I said, I'm not going to, and I told him, I'm not going to tell you not to be angry and not to let it go, because you shouldn't let it go. Somebody screw you over, you shouldn't let it go. You should go and, I'm going to confront her with this. So he does. But he mouses out, of course, because she comes up with all these papers. Again, the documents, the lovely documents. Well, how would she know that I was coming? You think she wasn't prepared for somebody to question her eventually? Come on. A good scam artist has everything documented and put there. But here's the thing. He asked me a question at the beginning of the week. What would you do? No, I already knew what was going on when he asked me this. What would you do if Cinemax wasn't legitimate, but Penguin Company was legitimate? Would you still go for it? Now, if I was a scumbag, yeah, I'd go for it. I'd say, fuck you, friend. Sorry. Oops. I got a family to support. No, I don't care. I even discussed this with my family, and they knew that wasn't right. It wasn't right. It didn't matter. I have to support my son. I have to support. But you don't fuck over a friend. Okay? And with all this, I love you, and I care about you, and I care about what happens to you. This whole thing with the friend, now I'm not a friend. Now I'm just like, what, an acquaintance all of a sudden? It boggles my mind. You dragged me into this. You nagged me for years and frustrated me about this damn book. And now things are not going well, but they're going well in your corner because she's showing you proof that you think is real. Could it be real? Maybe, maybe not. I didn't see anybody. The issue that they were supposed to talk about was me. Okay? I was the issue. She didn't give a damn what happened to me. I could have just... And he goes, oh, well, that happens with all writers. Well, then you should have stuck up for me even more. Because if it's happened to you, then you should have been in my corner. You're supposed to be my friend. You got me into this. I didn't get myself into this. You got me into this. But he flared up when he thought it was his ass on the line. His money on the line. But now that he dragged me into it and got me believing that my money, that I was going to be making money, I could have been doing something else all this time. He's like, oh, I could have been doing this, I could have been doing that. Hey, I could have been doing something. You're talking about his doctor bills and this and that. I had doctor bills for 10 years. And I had to hear that. Oh, I might have issues. Yeah, my son's got issues. I got issues too. Our whole family's got issues. We all got medical problems. Everybody's got financial problems. You're not the only one, but you are a one-person deal. You don't have to do it for a whole bunch of people. Okay? So it lies more on everybody else. You're not thinking about that. You're just thinking about yourself. And whoever he spoke to, put that in his head. Because then he turned around and had the nerve to say, oh, well, you're letting your anger cloud your judgment. Well, he had a whole week to tell me, you want to know what, Fran? Don't do it for me, because I wouldn't do it for you. He had a whole week to say, don't give up on the Penguin Company if it's legit, because I wouldn't give up on the Cinemax if it was legit and the Penguin wasn't, for you. That's all he had to do was tell me that. But he was too chicken shit to tell me that. He couldn't tell me that. He wouldn't tell me that. Not going to tell me that. Why, did you think I was going to actually get hurt by it? I would have expected it. I expected, because I knew how he was when he asked me that question. You wouldn't ask a question like that about what would I do if you trusted my integrity. If you didn't plan on going with her if the Penguin book wasn't real and Cinemax was. You wouldn't have asked me that question. And so I turned it around and asked him what he would do. He was stuttering, like he wouldn't know what to really say. Oh, because he knew that it didn't make a difference. He was not going to give on his dream of a lifetime. Like we all didn't have dreams of a lifetime we had to give up on for a friend. So, in other words, deal, lying on death's door, I'll take the deal. Fuck you, sorry, I'll put flowers on your gravestone, with the money I make. I mean, that's basically what they're saying, because that's what they did. So he goes, oh, I don't trust her, I'm still waiting, I still have to get my thing. Yeah, you're still waiting and holding on to her because you're with the hopes that she is for real so that you can get that money that you've been waiting for all this time. But I never said dump her. He said dump her. He said dump the bitch. He said he was going to dump the bitch. I never told him to dump her. When he told me he was going to dump her. But he never gave me an option. He never said, Fran, don't do it for me because I wouldn't do it for you. That's all he had to say was, Fran, don't give up the Penguin, which I had no intention of giving it up at the time until he told me she wasn't for real. That's when I gave it up. I gave it up on his information. He caused all of this. He caused all of this. Because if he wouldn't have told me that, I was going to write her a second proposal soon on my deal with it. And she goes, oh, Fran hates me. Who said? Fran hates you. You should have seen the things that he was saying. And I told him, I said, did you tell what you said? No. Yeah, because you were chicken. Chicken. You didn't tell her anything you said. You cursed. I'm sure you cursed on the phone to me. Did you curse at her? I don't think so. I doubt very much that he told her to effing stop this and stop fucking this. I don't think he talked to her at all like that. I think he cowered out and didn't say any of that. I think he was calm, and he just said, well, look, this is what woman just said, she doesn't know you. All the stuff that he said to me on the phone was a bunch of baloney. And he didn't bother to prove me different. He doesn't give a shit to prove me different. If he wanted to prove me different, he would have gotten papers and said, here, wait, Fran, don't do anything yet. She showed me something, and I want to show it to you, and I want to see what you think, and then you make a decision. Okay? He didn't even give me that option. He didn't even give me that option. They were supposed to be talking about me, and the meanwhile it turned out all be about him. And all about the money. Well, I'm going to wait it out because if it's legitimate, this could solve all my money problems. Well, I have worse money problems than you. 10 times worse. I live out of a bedroom. You kidding? And, I really, really didn't mean it. That other one, I'm sorry you feel that way. You're sorry I feel that way. If you were sorry I felt that way, you wouldn't have done what you did. You did it anyway. So, I mean, I get so frustrated, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Hopefully this one goes through because I'm just so frustrated with their situation. I'm just going to end it now. But you see where I'm coming from. So now either she's legitimate or she's not. But either way, he didn't bother to come and tell me, and neither did she. Neither one of them bothered to try to prove anything to me. She proved it to him, but nobody bothered to prove it to me. And he didn't care enough to prove it to me. All he cared enough was to relay the message. That was it. That was as much as I got. That was as much as respect I got, was to relay the message. So, I told her to call you. Yeah, like she's going to call. She could have called. Please. Ugh. And so I got screwed again, as usual, by the same person. And wasn't happening before. It's wondering why I don't trust anybody. Well, now you see why. Because they make promises they can't keep. So let's put it this way. If you're a publishing company or you offer a real deal with any place else, just let me know. Because, I'm tired of the BS from everybody and leading me into, to doing things. And he said, well, if you would have just stuck it out. I was sticking it out. I stuck it out for a whole week until you said that she wasn't for real. I was still going to do the deal until he said she wasn't for real. And he was all bitching out about it. So they both are on the shit list. Unless they do something to prove me wrong or prove different to me, unless they make an effort, that's it. I've had it. I mean, I don't see an effort. Nobody's called me. Nobody's bothered to contact me. I got one email that was more like a complaint than anything else. It was more whining and complaining and apologizing for their stupidity, on my behalf, on what they did to me, than anything else. Because I wrote something that people care about is on my Facebook is about money and people scam. What was I wrong? I got dumped. I got kicked to the curb. Nobody bothered to try and say, wait a minute, Fran, hold on. I got papers I saw. They look legitimate, but I want you to look at them first. I'll tell her to make copies. Nobody even invited me to this meeting. This meeting was supposed to be about me, and nobody even invited me there. If you're trying to talk about me, you could talk about me until in front of my face. Don't talk about me behind my back. It was amazing. It's just amazing what people will do. Well, I'm going to run. Better things will happen. They always do. And let's see, what comes around goes around. It happens all the time. So, Fran is saying ciao. So when something happens, don't blame me, blame your actions.